my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to all listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, we are going to review the directorial debut of one Mr. Robert De Niro. We are going back to 1993. This one stars Mr. Robert De Niro, Chazz Palminteri, Lillo Brancato, terrible, these Italian names, I apologise, Terrell Hicks and Catherine Narducci. So we are going to be reviewing, Dave, A Bronx Tale. So, had you ever seen this one at all, Dave?
So I hadn't watched it, and to be honest, in the kind of 90s and probably through the 2000s and up to the time, you know, we've been doing this podcast, I wouldn't have sought this out and watched it at all. I think if I was forced to watch a gangster movie, I probably would have done. But it was just so far away from my sweet spot. I wouldn't have sought this out at all. I do remember this from the video store, though. And weirdly, what catches my eye is more Chazz. You know, so he's on the right of the screen and you've got him facing off against De Niro. And obviously De Niro's quite iconic looking, isn't he? You can recognize him straight away. But for some reason, just the way the video cover was where they're facing off against each other, my eye was always drawn more to the right of the video box. But don't know why that is. Sure there's something psychological going on there. But yeah, I think now, having watched this is almost like the perfect time, or let me say the perfect decade, because as part of doing this podcast, you know, I'd seen Goodfellas, but I don't think I really appreciated Goodfellas until we watched it, you know, on this rewatch on the podcast. You made me watch Godfather, you know, which I'd sort of resisted for a long time. I'd heard about, you know, how great it was and everything, and it just almost puts me off, you know, wanting to watch that movie. It's like, yeah, it's not going to be that good, is it? Fucking old movie, but absolutely love that as well. And of course, blasted through The Sopranos, and again, just I think innately, I don't like the gritty realness of the violence. You know, I can take, you know, someone in Star Wars having their arm chopped off, but it's with a lightsaber, and there's very little blood or consequences. So I just think, yeah, at that time, obviously, like I say, I was more kind of sci-fi focused, but definitely have worn to this kind of genre. And it's not just a gangster movie, is it? I think Godfather spawned this whole Italian gangster subgenre, you know, the family, the mob. And so, yeah, definitely an interesting one. But how about yourself? What's your backstory to this one, Chris?
Well, you know, I've never seen it before this week at all. And I don't know why, because like having watched every gangster movie, or thought I had every gangster movie going, this just wasn't on the radar. I know it's weird because with the TikTok and YouTube Shorts age, I've seen loads of this movie on there, you know, where people rave about it. And there's a few comparisons to other movies that we've reviewed I definitely want to talk about, but not seen any of it. Now, and also just thinking, well, it's got De Niro. Why have I not seen it? Maybe because he isn't a gangster in it. Maybe because he's a goodie as such. He's the bus driver. He's the dad, Lorenzo. And reading up, I mean, I'm saying Robert De Niro's directorial debut. I'm not giving Chazz Palminteri the props. It's actually his show. It's a one-man show that he created, he wrote, he starred in on Broadway, and De Niro saw it in LA, and that's where it got adopted into a screenplay with both of them together. And Chazz Palminteri wanted to actually adapted. Well, it could have been adopted. There's a lot of adoption going on in this, but into a movie, and very similar to Sylvester Stallone in Rocky, that they wanted to buy the rights off Chazz Palminteri, and he's like, no, I want to star as the character Sonny. That's my show. And he's done this show since this movie. I didn't know it was a play. I did not know it was a play. I did not know it was sort of a musical as such as well. So really, really interesting that it got this far and became a movie sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of firsts in this, but how I've never seen it, and it's in the absolute sweet spot of gangster movies, is an absolute sacrilege. So I can't thank Matty enough for picking this one. It really is excellent that we've got to do this one this week. Something completely different as well. The first gangster movie of 2026. But yeah, just in the context of, we've never seen it, but I've seen like the biker scene a few times where they fight the bikers. I've seen a couple of like the monologue stuff. I've seen like the bit at the end as well, but and it didn't ruin the movie at all. And the fact that this runs at 2 hours, again, perfect movie for me for this sort of genre, because like The Godfather is absolutely phenomenal, but you need a break halfway through. You need a wee break at some point. Yeah, exactly. So no, honestly, I was absolutely dying to get into us talking about and just watching it as well, just to see, because I know it's reviewed very highly and respected very highly. So no, I'm looking forward to this one, Dave.
Very good, very good. Well, on that note, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
In the Bronx, where loyalty means everything and every life lesson comes with dramatic background music.
Yeah, comes a Bronx Tale. I use this voice every week. The film that proves every kid in the 60s apparently had a mob mentor.
Young Calogero grows up between two worlds.
His hard-working bus driver father and a mob boss who hangs around his hard-working bus driver father and a mob boss who hangs around outside all day.
One teaches him honesty, responsibility, and the value of hard work.
The other teaches him how to intimidate people near a fruit stand.
In this neighborhood, respect must be earned.
Usually by standing on a street corner looking thoughtful.
As Calogero grows into a young man,
he learns about loyalty, friendship, and how many people can fit in one Italian restaurant scene and a toilet.
Love will test him.
Mostly because his friends behave like absolute idiots.
Violence lurks beneath the surface.
Along with several very important conversations about car doors.
A Bronx Tale.
A coming-of-age story where the biggest moral lesson is basically choose your role models carefully.
Some lessons will last forever.
Some accents won't, especially if they're delivered by someone called Sonny.
In 1960, 9-year-old Calogero lives in Belmont, a working-class Italian-American neighborhood in the Bronx, where his father Lorenzo, a surface transit bus driver, and his mother Rosina. Calogero becomes enamored of the mafia presence in his neighborhood, led by local boss Sonny. One day, Calogero witnesses Sonny kill a man who was assaulting his friend. Calogero keeps quiet when questioned by the NYPD detectives. Sonny's men offer Lorenzo a better paying job, but preferring law-abiding life, he politely declines. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
I'm not even going to try and hide it. I absolutely love this movie. I will watch this again. I've been on an absolute rabbit hole watching this. Like, this is absolutely my wheelhouse of mafia movies. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I will say there's a lot of comparisons to Goodfellas at the start, especially with, I'm not even saying Calogero. I'm just going to call him C-Dave. Calls him. He's just easier. What a name to pick for like one of the lead actors. It is very similar to the Goodfellas. Now, obviously, this was a play and everything like that. So I don't know where Chazz would have got like the inspiration for this. Maybe it is a cliche. Maybe it's just something that happened in these Italian, neighborhoods and that. But it feels very similar to Henry Hill. I know Henry is not Italian, is he? Ray Liotta's character, and he's a little bit older, but a lot of that does feel like the Goodfellas, which is not a bad thing. The Goodfellas come out a couple of years earlier than this, and it's got the DNA. But I think Chazz Palminteri, Dave, as Sonny, is unbelievable in this.
Yeah.
I think he's absolutely brilliant. I wasn't sure with De Niro being the good guy and the C's dad and being the bus driver, Lorenzo, and having the moral compass and not wanting him to get involved with the mafia stuff, which is great to see De Niro on the other side of the coin, not just playing the mob boss, because you would have thought it had been the other way around. But I think the fact that Sonny and Chazz Palminteri he's 6'3", he's a big imposing guy. Honestly, Dave, I think the performances in this are fantastic. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's so good, and I'm just kicking myself I've not watched it up until now, like 33 years later. Absolute travesty, but honestly, brilliant movie for me. I think it starts so strong, and I think 2 hours, as I said before the trailer, is just an absolute perfect sweet spot for this. It's not. I think these things that, like, you look at Goodfellas, they pad it out a little bit, and it's still a fantastic movie. And you've got like Joe Pesci in there. I mean, Joe Pesci's in the end of this, which is unbelievable from nowhere. Yeah, he's come straight off the set of Home Alone and bloody Goodfellas and straight to this. I know, like, Casino starts at some point around this time, a couple of years later, but absolute all the cliches you want in a gangster movie. But yeah, I think the story's great, and the fact that we've got C narrating the movie really helps again. But again, very Goodfellas in its delivery, because you have Ray Liotta. Henry is the one who's narrating himself. I know that's based on a true story, and he was in, like, witness protection and all that stuff, Henry Hill. But there's so many comparisons, so maybe that was the way that some of these kids were plucked out to get into the mafia and stuff like that. I don't know, Dave, but yeah, honestly, absolutely brilliant movie for me. This.
Yeah, I mean, there's no poker going on today, is there?
No, not at all.
If I'd have watched this, like I say, in a previous decade, I think I thought it was okay, maybe, but I wouldn't have particularly been invested. But I think particularly probably watching a lot of The Sopranos, and I think it just calibrated me for watching something like this. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it as well. Again, a little bit like yourself, probably not as much, but kicking myself slightly that I'm only just watching this now. This is 7.8 on IMDb. I think it's a bit underrated. I think, not to give away my scores for later, but I just think the way it sets up the environment, that closeness of the neighborhood. I mean, it is slightly comical that, this mob boss is just literally hanging around like a teenager on the street corner, it seems, most of the time. I think it's just set up really well. And I do find it slightly jarring because De Niro's a badass, like whatever role he's in, isn't he? And in this scenario, he's trying to play that, the working man, and so I do find it a little bit jarring, but I kind of soon get over that. And as I'm calibrated to the environment. You got all the different kind of characters that, are surrounded by the mob and all the hangers on and whatever, and all the habits, because when he's a kid and you can see his dad's trying his hardest to, bring him up with the right values and everything. But it's right there on your doorstep. So it must be a constant fear that they're going to get sucked into this life. And you can see he's a bit of a cheeky little scamp, isn't he? So it's almost inevitable that he would gravitate to there. But I just think the way the environment is set up, I just think is really, really well done. And I thought when I'm coming into it, I'm like, oh, here we go. A bit of a Goodfellas. You get seduced into the lifestyle and then it all goes shit. And then, all people backstabbing each other and whacking each other. It doesn't quite go there. Obviously, it doesn't turn out that well for Sonny, but I actually found this for a gangster movie quite hopeful. I found it quite positive, and more positive than some of the other gangster movies. So, yeah, just really enjoyed it. The whole setting I thought was done really well.
It was, and honestly, I mean this. We're going to watch this. This will be my rotation of gangster movies now. I really is. And then I realised that there is another movie I've not watched correctly or watched it properly. Is Once Upon a Time in America with De Niro. That's like for the 80s. That's a gangster set in the 30s, but that's something missing. So when I say I've watched them all, Dave, I don't think I have. But
which will be a shock to no one, I'm sure.
No one at all.
Apart from you.
I did see Blake's comment about my top 50 movies of all time and Discord. I was laughing to myself. But no, I think you're right. I think it's a very contained movie. It's about this neighborhood, in it. Like, and obviously, I mean, if you've seen The Sopranos, Tony Soprano's like one of the main heads of like New Jersey, but he does sit on the street corner on a table with like his sort of henchmen and everything, you know, the mob bosses. But he does venture out. He'll wear a suit. He'll do things, but it's more about being present, I think. But whereas with Sonny, the only thing, see, there's a couple of things I think. When the guy gets killed, why would the police go and get C and his dad and frog march him in front of every Italian person, including the mafia, and make him do a lineup? That is just, you're literally slashing your own throat, aren't you? You've got to, whatever happens in that situation, unless you're going to go, well, I'm moving out of the area, put me in witness protection, you were never going to fucking grass up someone doing that, especially the guy who's running the corners, who's like the main boss of this area. Why would you do that? You would be dead, wouldn't you? You know, you would absolutely be dead. And that's one thing I did laugh to myself about, but it didn't take it away from the movie. And I like the fact that De Niro stands up for himself. But I'd say what made me laugh, and it did make me laugh out loud, Dave, is when C sort of starts, you know, Sonny takes a shine to him, and it's great that he's his mentor. It's almost like he's using C as a way of, don't get involved with the mafia. You can watch it from the outside. You can see what, and he says it to him. Some of the acting is brilliant. Chazz Palminteri is really good when he's talking to sort of like the teenage, you know, late teens, a guy who we could see for the rest of the movie. See, is when he's saying to him, like, you know, I chose this life. You know, this is the life. I don't want you doing that. And he's trying to keep him on the outskirts in it all the time. We don't see C kill anybody, because I kept thinking, is he going to kill somebody? And then it's like he's fully integrated in the mafia. He's not. He's almost just like a kid. He's almost like C's there to make Sonny feel better, as if he's a normal person because of what he's doing. It's like, for me, I took out of it that Sonny just didn't want to be this boss, but the lifestyle he takes, he's got to. But having someone around him who's not, like, his mates are all wankers, C's mates are all little hoodlums, aren't they? They're going to be the next generation, or so it's depicted in the movie at certain points, you know, when he's 17 and that, they're all knobheads, aren't they? But you can see that in, like, in Goodfellas, when you get the flashbacks with Nicky, you know, Joe Pesci's character, and when they were younger with, like, Jimmy, which is Robert De Niro, you see that. You see it in The Godfather, how they pick this life. You know, they brought into the Corleone family. There's only one way. There's only Michael who isn't. And in the end, he becomes the worst of the lot, doesn't he? He doesn't want that life. He's in the army. He gets away from it. He's got brains. They try and keep him away from that life. But unfortunately, he ends up getting dragged in when Don Corleone dies. And it's very similar to this. It's like Sonny almost has him round there as almost like a mascot. But I loved the bit with the dice. I was pissing myself laughing. You know, when Sonny's there and they're all there, aren't they, around, and they're all lined up, and he's throwing, he goes, right, C, come on, we need a 7. And he's selling all the other guys. The guy who never wins. Constantly in the fucking toilet. Yeah, in the toilet. Throws him in the toilet. So I'm laughing at that. And the big guy, obviously he's got BO. He's like, get this fucking guy out. I don't want you fucking breathe. Put him in the toilet. And the guy goes, Sonny, he's not going to go, get him in the toilet. And then you've got another guy then goes, that guy's got the ugly face who
put a bag on his head.
Put him in the toilet. I don't want to see throwing the dice and fucking that ugly thing. Get him in the toilet. And then you've got all, and for some reason, and I'm thinking, that's like a proper gambler though, isn't it? And it can only go one way. If C doesn't fucking start throwing 7s, or, I mean, he throws a 4 and loses, and he's like 500, and then he wins loads, doesn't it? Loads of money. And that sort of cements him as like Sonny's sort of mascot, good luck home. And it, honestly, that bit just tickled me. I was fucking pissing myself laughing at that, because these 3 massive guys are in this fucking toilet, and the biggest guy just sits on the toilet with his clothes. Honestly, it sounds stupid, Dave, but it's the way Sonny's just giving him shit. And I love that. It felt real. Everyone's paying the fucking 7s. All the old blokes are like, he goes, he does 11 throws in a row, and his Sonny wins more money than he's ever earned in his life, sort of thing. And he ends up with $600 then, doesn't he? Because and this is where Lorenzo then goes and has a pop. De Niro has a pop at Sonny, saying like, "This man, we don't want it." But I love his mum. The mum's like, "Hang on a minute." When C doesn't pick him in the lineup, he then offers him $150 for Lorenzo just to drop a piece of paper off him on his bus, and he's like, "No, I'm not doing it." And you can see at that point De Niro will not be swayed, and we get this whole thing about when Lorenzo comes in, throws in the money, and sees like, "What's the money?" He says they don't speak for 8 years. So then we go from him being 9 to fast forwarding to he's 17. But I think that whole thing. And honestly, I don't know what it was about it, Dave. I was just completely engrossed in it. And I did watch it with my earphones in, like, so you could hear everything. I don't know whether that really added to the atmosphere of the movie, but I was just, as you can hear in my voice and what I've said, I'm not going to shit on this movie. I was fully in on this completely. Every cliche possible in a mafia movie, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter. It was absolutely brilliant storytelling for me. I just didn't know where it was going to go, and I genuinely didn't know what happens at the end, which I really enjoyed that. I could see it at the end, what was going to happen in that scene, but I didn't know up until the end scene. So the things that go on after it, before it, just set everything up perfectly for me.
Yeah. Just to say about the superstition of the mob guys and stuff, when he's got everyone to go in the toilet and get away from the thrower. For me, it made the bit later at the racehorse, the horse racing, even funnier, where they're like, yeah, and the horse is way out in front. They're like, yeah. Oh, and he's shaking everyone's hand, and then he goes up. The bad luck guy, and he's like, oh yeah, I've bet on the same one, and everyone's like, fuck this, and they even before the race is over, they've teared up all their betting slips and everything and walk off. So I did think that was really, really good. But I kind of felt like at some point Sonny was going to turn. And, you would see the darker side of him. And you say about maybe Sonny didn't want that life, but he talked, some fantastic dialogue in this, brilliantly delivered. And he's talking about when he's in prison, and if he was smart, he wouldn't have got caught and spent 10 years in prison. And, there's only 3 things to do in prison. I honestly can't remember which one he said. And, C asks him, well, what did you do? He says, I read. And he read a lot of Machiavelli, so, learning how to keep power and what have you. And he's very open about the fact that, is it better to be loved or feared? And he's like, yeah, feared. Like, totally, because the fear lasts longer than love does. And so all the time I'm waiting for a turn in Sonny, and it just doesn't come at all. And you're thinking, well, Lorenzo is the shining beacon. He is the thing to aspire to. And he's trying to tell C about, it's the working man that is the hard man, really, the grafter. That is the hardest thing, to get up every day to make sure that you can support your family. But later on, when, C takes a shine to the black girl that he sees on the bus, Lorenzo's a bit like, yeah, you should stick to your own kind. So we talked last week about Empire Records and the fact that you had just these classic stereotypes, and the plot was paper thin and the character development was paper thin. But in this one, I thought it made both role models, both kind of father figures, quite great. And so I thought that was what they did really well as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, like, Lorenzo wanted him to be on the straight and narrow, but if you were going to be on that straight and narrow, you wouldn't be in that neighborhood, would you? You'd move. I know that's where they lived, raised. I
don't know if this is 19. I mean, when it's older, it's 1968, isn't it? I mean, I think once you've got a flat in the Bronx, this is not I think a flat now, it'd cost you a pretty penny, wouldn't it? But I think there's not much choice to move around. I wouldn't have thought back then.
Yeah, possibly. You could be right, and maybe that's why. But I think what was interesting is the 8-year gap in the movie. Like, Lorenzo, obviously, when Lorenzo throws the money at him, he's holding C, and you see Sonny looking out the window. Then you get the monologue where he says, "Donny, yeah, but whenever I could, I just went back to them." And then the next minute, he's like, he's dressed like a bit of a wise guy, and he's got the fucking leather jacket on. He's with him at that's the racist scene, isn't it? You're right, where he's. But then it also shows, like, we then get his friends brought into it who were all like up and comers, and we do see, like you say, he meets Jane, the black girl, and then you've got like the group of like the black lads going past in the car, and you can see that racial undertone. But C does not engage in that. His character doesn't say anything racial or anything like that at that point. It's just that his mates are really amped up because they have got the nerves to drive around their area. So you can see something building. But again, you've got sort of like a little bit of like, oh, what's going on? Because I kept thinking C's going to get killed here. You know, this is going to be like the story. He's going to sort of stick up for Jane because you can see he likes her. He talked about her, the most beautiful girl he'd seen. And when they sort of meet and they're talking and she's adjusting his hat, and I know he isn't meant to be, but I thought like when Stallone wore his hat, he's got the same outfit.
It
as
was
Rocky
definitely the first Rocky, wasn't it?
The nod or something. Yeah, it was I don't know if it was the nod or it was the standard Italian outfit because a lot of the guys in his group had it. But they're obviously trying, you know, they kiss and they kiss. I mean, the thing is, the first kiss looks exactly like the one when Jane says, "No, this is a real kiss," and I'm like, I don't think that was any different than the kiss you just had. But anyway, let's go again. And they don't really get anything. But what had happened before that, obviously, was a black lad had been going through the Italian neighborhood. And one of his mates just ginned him and they just kicked the shit out of him. We didn't know it was Jane's brother at this point. But then obviously and I don't want to ruin this all. I want you to talk about this, Dave. But what did you think of that scene? Because there's a weird bit in that scene, which I can't, when the brother confronts him and says it was C who beat him up when he was there, but he didn't actually run away, did he? He was trying to tell him to leave him.
Yeah, well, there was a couple of lads who were attacked, wasn't there? And like you say, the guy who's on the ground and C he weirdly kind of sits on him almost. He doesn't beat him up, but I don't know, maybe trying to show off to his mates that he's not just running away, but he's not taking part in the beating as well. But he is liberally throwing around racist terms as well. And again, the civil rights movement was right about this time, wasn't it? Sort of.
Yeah, Martin Luther King.
Yeah. You're talking about mid-60s to later 60s. So you can imagine there was a lot of racism there. And I couldn't quite work out what was going on because you could see, you know, the way his brother, you could see he's pissed off, and he's just been beaten up for no other reason than the color of his fucking skin, like. And so the fact that he didn't actually plant one on him doesn't absolve C of anything to me. And then it just took a weird turn where, like, the brother admitted that, you know, C didn't smack him around, but he was still there. He was still in that group, and Jane just seemed to forgive him incredibly easily. Because again, he was still throwing out the old racist terms and stuff. And so, I that bit did jar with me, I have to say. Again, like yourself, really enjoyed the movie, but that bit I felt was a bit weak.
Yeah, and I agree with that because he uses the M-word against the brother and, you know, he instantly regrets saying it. She's disappointed in him, quite rightly. They leave, and they're just like, oh, typical white guy, just being racist and everything. But I'm with you, and then from that scene, it doesn't make sense later on when she's like, he said he made it all up. It wasn't you. I'll just forgive you for being racist. You know, let's have a kiss. You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't work like that. I mean, I know it's a different era. And them words should never be used by anybody. I stick by that. You know, no matter what colour you shouldn't be using them words at all. But she's so forgiving, and at this point in the 60s, black people were so prejudiced against the colour of the skin, even getting on buses, trains, toilets. You know, it's absolutely disgusting. I think there's still some places in America, you know, in the deep South that literally live by that fucking rule, which is horrible. But yeah, I'm with you. That's such a. I mean, maybe even in the 80s, when this on the 90s, so when this come out, that wouldn't have been. Everyone would have gone. Like, she seems to forgive him just a little bit too quickly. But then from that scene, because what happened was Sonny gave him a card, and he said, "Take the car, go and impress her." And the dad sees him in the car, but then Sonny's car's got a bomb in it. So this is where you said about Sonny turning. They come and confront him and pin him up and think he's the one who's planted the bomb, but it's not him. It's obviously, and it isn't. The black guys at all. It's not them or anything, which we find out at the end who it probably was. But yeah, he does forgive him then, doesn't he? He's sort of like, no, leave him alone. But this then, like, what's weird is he tells him to stay away. When Sonny realises it wasn't C, he tells him to stay away. And I must admit, the bit that I found bizarre is he's talking to us as the audience about how he just wants, you know, he just wants to get away and everything, but then just instantly gets in the car with his friends, doesn't he? And they're like, oh, what's just happened with Sonny? You know, that's only just happened, but they seem to know. The jump is that's a little bit, I don't think the continuity is right on that bit, but he gets in the car. But I did love his monologue when he's talking about I'm scared. I don't want to be here. When he sees the Molotovs and that, he's like, my dad would say, don't ruin your talent. That was his dad's line, wasn't it? Don't ruin your talent. But then Sonny would say, which is good because he's showing both father figures, things will just basically something like things will work itself out. Don't react straight away because he thinks he's going to be fucked here. He thinks he's going to get involved in something. They're going to kill some people. They're going to kill the black guys in their sort of a neighborhood. And just as you think he's about to go under, Sonny appears from nowhere and just fucking breaks the guy's nose, the cocky little fucker in the front, and then pulls him out and goes, this is the last time. You do not mess with this kid. And that's where you think, fucking brilliant, like, he's saved him again, even though he's this gangster and he has done some questionable things. He has got, there's no ulterior motive. And I kept thinking, is this like a Michael Corleone thing where C is going to become Sonny's successor because he's got compassion? He's not the same. He's been brought up correctly by his parents. He's not a wise guy. He's not like a little shit. He might be a bit cheeky in that, but he's streetwise, but he's got that compassion. I kept thinking, is it a natural progression? Is it going to be an order where he puts him forward? Because when they put him together, I thought he was going to take C like they've done in Goodfellas. It doesn't work out with Joe Pesci, but they're going to make him a made guy, make him part of the gang then, where his dad and mum can't touch him anyway, irrespective of they want to pull him out. But no, it's not that. And I think that, and the whole Molotov scene, when obviously Sonny's C's friends get to come up and stay, that's brilliant. Yeah. Because they don't kill any of the black guys, thankfully, but they end up with getting a Molotov in their car and then just end up getting fried. And that would have been C. So I just think that ending bit is so powerful, honestly. I think it's really good, really good.
Yeah. And I think particularly when, he pulls C out of the car, Sonny, I think at that point you think that was the moment for me when I thought the message of the movie wasn't going to be, you're seduced into the mob lifestyle, but it's all really going to go to shit. And, you can't take any lessons from Sonny because it all ends up badly. Sonny could obviously recognize in these young lads, he's seen plenty of people like that in his life, and they're just chaotic. They're angry, they're violent, and unpredictable as well. So that's why I think he's telling C to just stay away from them, because they're trouble. You don't know exactly what it's going to be, but something bad is going to happen at some point and people are going to die. And so, I thought that was really good. And then it started to seep into my brain. I'm like, okay, so, C's got these two role models and he's taking different lessons from them, both of them at different times are valid lessons, but it's not just about taking from one source and just taking everything. It's just take everything in and help that to be part of the thing that shapes your own personality going forward.
Yeah, and you know what, Dave? It's interesting. We do different movies. We did Empire Records and next week's movie. Yeah, we'll talk about that when it's appropriate to announce that. But I do think that this movie, and it sounds like I'm not putting words in your mouth, but for me, this has really stuck with me. Like when you were saying when we did for the Patreons, we did Blake's film, that one that's even worse than Cloud Atlas. That one as well.
Syndicate.
Yeah, Syndicate. No, Cindy Douche, Dave. That one, Cindy Douche. Yes, no, fucking it's called. Yeah, that one as well. But you said that on the review, quite rightly, it really stuck with you, even though it wasn't you didn't really enjoy the movie as such. There was just something about it that really sat with you, and you were like, "Yeah, there's something about this movie that really, resonates with me." So I think with this personally, this has really stuck with me. Like the story is just it's so like small and insular, but it just left me afterwards thinking, God, that's a great movie. Like really, really enjoyed it. And I think the whole point of this is like, he realizes that Sonny has saved him and saved his life. And he's legging it back to the bar. I want to see Sonny. And I kept thinking at this point, someone's going to stab him. I did think C was the one who was going to get stabbed. Do you know what I mean? I could see it coming. I knew someone was going to get killed. And as he's running, I'm thinking he's getting in this crowd. Someone's just going to come and fucking knife him. It's going to be because he was getting abuse off the black lads at there because he was white. They were giving him aggro. They knew he was part of this gang of people who'd come. I thought it's going to be someone like that. It's definitely going to be someone's going to do him. But then as he gets into the house and he sees Sonny, he goes, Sonny, Sonny, Sonny. I'm thinking, oh no, I know what's coming here. He's not getting killed. And then we do get the monologue where he starts talking and saying everyone's happy but this one guy. And you see this good-looking kid going towards Sonny, and he just fucking shoots him in the head and kills him. And it's like, and then we find out that he's the guy who Sonny's the son of the guy Sonny killed at the start. They're totally intertwining the whole movie together, which I thought was brilliant. You know, I thought that delivery and the way it all like come together full circle. Again, we've seen that in a lot of these movies where the main gangsters and or the main baddies, they get killed by someone they are not expecting to be killed by. Yeah. And then it's like, oh shit, yeah, brilliant. Someone you don't even think about, a secondary person. And that's who this guy is. He's someone we don't know anything about him, but he has just basically killed Sonny. And I love the ending, Dave. I love the whole thing. I mean, the Joe Pesci thing is just bizarre when he comes in, doesn't he? He's like, yeah, you want anything, kid? Because he's the one at the start who's been with the bat, but we don't see him at the start, do we? Am I wrong now? We don't see it's Joe Pesci, do we?
I need to go back and watch it. Obviously, I've only watched it the once for this review. I do want to go back though and see, you know, is it him? Is it a bit of a No Retreat, No Surrender 3 stunt double? But when he turned up, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like checking his name. Then I'm like, is this some sort of mad crossover? It's like at the end of Split where you find out, you know, just this little tiny bit at the end, and that you find out, oh fucking hell, this somehow ties back to Unbreakable. What the hell? Like, I thought it might be something like that with Joe Pesci, because it was just such a fucking random thing to put someone so iconic in these sort of movies. But yeah, I don't think it is any crossover. It's just, you know, mad little cameo there. He probably did film him for like a day for his scene. And I don't think we don't actually find out exactly what it was for, do we? You know, because C asks, is it because of the parking space? And it's like, no. So I don't know if this was like a planned hit or something, but yeah, I just completely threw me off, and I thought it might be tied to Goodfellas or something else. But yeah, I don't think it is.
No, it's really, honestly, it's a brilliant ending. It's something I thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. Honestly, I really think Nick's Pick's a great movie, and something that I think, as I said before, I'll just be thinking about this. I want to watch it again. I always say, you piss yourself laughing, going, okay, you're going to watch that again. Don't mention Hit Monkey or any other fucking ones I've promised and not delivered on. But genuinely, yeah. All right, Dave, there's no need for that. But genuinely, like, it really sat with me, this movie. And just, I'm more annoyed at myself, Dave, that I've not watched it. That's what I'm more annoyed at. That's the main thing that's really pissed me off. It's like, you dick, I should have watched this a long time ago. I really should have. So yeah, I just think it's a great movie, and I can't speak highly enough of it, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think the thing you say about the ending there, or the murder. So I think for me, it was only at the moment when he said, you know, no one else seemed to see this guy, and you can see he's got this, you know, stoic look on him, and it was at that moment, and I'd already warmed to Sonny at that point. You know, I was expecting the turn. I was expecting this all to be a bit of a front to get C into the mob and stuff. And by the time he gets killed, you're like, oh, this guy, you know, ultimately he is a fucking mob gangster, isn't he? But I quite like him. And that scene, I can see it in my mind's eye now, where, you know, he's got this big, joyful smile on his face because he's just seen C, and C's kind of, you know, he's definitely got a soft spot for him, and you see he's going to shoot it, and it's like, oh, fucking hell. So yeah, I absolutely iconic scene. I thought the way it all played out and the way it was shot was really, really good.
It was a brilliant ending, and just for me, just completed the story, Dave. Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. This has not been me, as I was last week, talking about pulling my shoulder out. This has just been, yeah, just loving it. Just proper cinema, this, for me. Like, absolutely brilliant movie. I loved it.
But before we go into our final reviews, I mean, it wouldn't be a gangster movie, would it, without a bit of proper violence? And in this, it's the bikers, isn't it, who drive through the Bronx, drive through the Italian neighborhood, and that provides us the window into the more violent nature. You know, it's not all just jokes on the street corner. It's, you know, they get a proper kicking. And I have to say, again, in terms of just building up that tension, I thought it did really well. I thought it was, you know, really well put together, and just the way that they're trying to get them to move on, and then they're obviously taking the piss. They don't want to know, and then it's when he blocks the door and he's like, "Now you can't leave," and I'm like, "Oh, now you're all fucked."
Now we're in trouble.
Yeah. So I thought that scene was quite iconic.
No, it is, and you're right, because like I say, I've seen that on the shorts for ages, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. It's been played out so many times, but yeah, I'm just glad I can put context to the whole movie now, not just that one scene where they shut the door and kick the shit out of him. So, brilliant. So, Dave, shall we get into our scores?
Let's go.
So, Dave, it's no surprise to anybody. This is a fantastic movie. This is definitely going to be on my Mafia rotation when I get the feel for it and watch them. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was just brilliant. Like I said, that scene, it's fucking dice scene has been amazing. I was just pissing myself. We put him on the toilet. I just thought it was hilarious. I know it's stupid comedy and it probably don't mean anything to anybody else, but I just thought it was really funny. And like you say, the horse racing bit where they're like, "Oh, I thought that," and Sonny just rips the fucking things up. Forget it. He's winning by about 10 lengths at that point. He's like, "No, we've lost." And they all just fuck off. And you see C going, "Oh, no, I'm not trying to pick them all up, all the betting slips," but it's honestly, I think it tells a great story. De Niro's really good in it. I think Chazz Palminteri is absolutely fantastic. I don't think anybody else could have played Sonny. So Dave's got to go Cloud City. This is now in my rotation of top 55 movies, gangster movies of all time. Matt, thank you so much for picking this, Matt. I really appreciate it, mate. But you've absolutely stunned me this week. I did not think I'd come away from this loving it, and I absolutely loved it. So brilliant. So what about yourself, Dave?
Yeah, and you know what? The kind of love story with Jane as well, it did make me feel like there was a little bit of Romeo and Juliet in there. You know, the kind of two different families, isn't it? In Romeo and Juliet, and they obviously they have this forbidden love, and you know, I did see some parallels there. I have to say, objectively, you know, it's not a perfect movie, but occasionally you just have these movies that just come out of nowhere. Maybe you knew about them, and have, in my case, you know, just avoided it or written it off. It's like, yeah, I'm not really that bothered about that one. So I don't know if objectively it is a Cloud City, but I'm going to follow your lead, to be honest. I think for me, it really landed, and I think, yeah, it's a Cloud City for me as well. I just really, really enjoyed it, and I think more than anything, I like the hopefulness of it. You know, it was fairly upbeat, and unlike last week, I thought the music in the movie as well was really well put together, really well chosen, and fit with every scene. And so, yeah, absolutely loved it, Chris.
Oh, I'm so pleased, mate. I understand. Like you say, we've gone down the Mafia gangster route because of me over the last years. I'm just glad that you're appreciating a lot of these movies. But you're right. I think a lot of this now is as we're older. You as you're younger, it wouldn't have been your wheelhouse, and the fact that, you know, Matty V's a perfect movie for me this week. Absolutely love it. I love the fact that you loved it, mate. So brilliant stuff. However, Dave, and a big thank you to Matty. He's our good friend and a really good guy as well. You know, Spider Dan. It's his pick this week. And Necromantic has sat with me for a long time, Dave. The pipe scene especially. I always go on about it. So he thought, for his Patreon pick, I tell you what, Chris, let's throw something else in there, Dave. So this is a movie I've never heard of, Dave. We're going back to 1974, before me and you were just, you know, we weren't even sperm at this point, Dave, in our wonderful life journey. But some respects I wish it had missed if we got to watch this one. But here we go, Dave. We go back to 1974. It stars, Dave. I don't know who he stars. Oh, he stars Dirk Bogarde, who had watched quite a lot of his films as a kid because he was on UK TV a lot. So he used to watch that with me nana. Charlotte Rampling, Philip Leroy, Gabrielle Ferzetti. We go back to World War II, Dave. This is a erotic psychological war drama called The Night Porter. So I'm only going to say this once, Dave. Let's get into the trailer for this one.
Let's go.
The night porter. A strong man. A weak man.
Oh, word. Hang on a minute.
If I were rich, I'd hire you to do everything for me. Would you?
No. You were always insane.
What the
and
hell?
You still are. Sane, insane then. Who's to judge?
A desperate man.
So they can't take you away?
No. Well,
The night porter. His world.
Trailer, we're going to get cancelled.
Yeah.
His friends.
Or maybe not that. No, we're not doing it.
His secret.
I have a reason for working at night.
Perfect timing.
It's the light. I have a sense of shame in the light.
The night porter.
Go up to 42. She's waiting for you.
The past. The present. The passion. The fear.
The police came. They're looking for Frau Atherton. Tell me what you talked about. What you said to each other.
Oh, God.
Dirk Bogard. Charlotte Rampling. The night porter.
I don't know if it's going to be anything like it. There's just something about the music and the setting. It just gives me a slight feel of Santa Sangra. But I'm sure it won't be like that. But yeah, that is going to be a different movie, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Spider-Dan, our good friend. No, I'm looking forward to it. Whatever it'll be, Dave, because I'm just going to be sat there, jaw on the floor, I think, watching it in a dark room so nobody can see what I'm watching. Big thank you to Matty V and Spider-Dan. Good one, mate. Honestly, this has been the best movie we reviewed this year now, Dave. I think it's overtook the one I said the other week. I've loved The Bronx Tale. So, Spider-Dan, you're going to have to raise your game next week, mate. If this overtakes it, I'll be very surprised.
I don't think Spider-Dan needs an invitation to raise the bar or lower the bar.
Yeah, but Dave, the thing is, Spider-Man's come in there for next week, raising the bar. And I know that there is a certain Mr. John Hammond and Blake and Matt and various other people just
who isn't
lurking
on that
in the
list,
shadow.
by the way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Lurking in the shadows, ready to see where this one goes and then raise the bar. So that's what I do love about this, like the podcast and our community of all friends we've got there. I just love that they're all lurking, going, "Oh, hang on a minute, Spider-Man's thrown this one in the mix. Well, I've got this." Then it takes someone else to sort of level it up and go, "Here's a blockbuster for you to watch, like The Bronx Tale." So, anyway, big thank you to everyone. If you want to email us, the VHSStrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @VHSStrikesback. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So, a big thank you and a roll call of honor to Matty V, especially, Reese, Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt Hales, Ken, Lucky Luddy Green, Herbs, Jack, Math Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. Amazing support. I've loved this again, Dave. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to us talking about next week, Dave. I'm not looking forward to watching it. The night porter, but here we are anyway. So what musical bit of magic have you got for us today, Dave?
Well, obviously, I take a certain angle with these things, and I did sort of ponder, it's such a gritty but hopeful movie, and obviously you've got your Italian gangsters there, and so I did consider approaching this from a real, authentic position. But instead, Chris, I went a different direction. And here we go. I think you'll recognize the inspiration for this one pretty soon into the song.
Hey, what's the matter, you? Hey, why you coming here? Rolling on a motorcycle, drink all my beer. Talk very loud, hey, act a big and brave. You should listen when Sonny talk or Sonny make a wave. You come rolling in the Bronx, think are you the boss? Laugh at the neighborhood like you get lost. Everybody watching now, standing around the place.
There's a little bit of that. It'll come into play. It'll be obvious in a minute.
Why you show a face?
Very good.
Smash up by your face. Sonny walking very slow, heading for the door. Little click of key make Danny smile and more. Bikers look all around, suddenly they freeze. Sonny say it very calm, now you can't leave. Hey, what's the matter you? Why you show a face? You come rolling in my bar, I'll smash up by your face. Hey, what's the matter you? Running all the place. You should listen when he say, I'll smash up by your face. I'll smash up by your face. I'll smash up by your face. Bad luck for you tonight. I'll smash up by your face. Mirror on the floor, helmet in a sink. Somebody say call police, Sonny say don't think. Tables flying everywhere, bikers start a run. Someone cry my motorcycle, now the fight begun. Hey, what's the matter you? Why you show a face? You come rolling in my bar, I'll smash up by your face. Hey, what's the matter you? Now you in disgrace. Next time stay on a bike, I'll smash up by your face. I'll smash up by your face. I'll smash up by your face. Sonny run the Bronx tonight. I'll smash up by your face. I'll smash up by your face. I'll smash up by your face. Everybody sing along. I'll smash up by your face.
So I don't know about you,
That
Chris.
is
I
brilliant.
used to love the old Joe Dolce, I shut up at your face. And so I just,
Yeah,
once
I
I
love
had
it.
that in my head, that I was going to take that. The only thing I was trying to figure out is how I could slightly adjust the hook. And I thought smash up at your face would do it. And I don't think I'll get cancelled for that cultural aspect to it. But
Next
Chris-
week we're getting cancelled, Dave. But what?
Yeah, always riding a fine line like Sonny. But honestly, Chris, it's been a great chat today. Thanks to Matt for picking this one as well. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go.
Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Come on, ain't so bad. You ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Maybe you crazy something. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I see you at 6 miles.
I must break you.